Welcome everybody to another Appreciating Comic Book Art video. And I am fulfilling my promise of finally doing X-Men #3, which I told you I was going to do when I uh, went over X-Men #1. Mostly because the story arc is just still one of my favorites to this day. It had such an impact on me when I was a kid. Um, just for one, the art, because I was such a big Jim Lee fan, but just I love the idea of the return of Magneto and the fact that the X-Men were fighting against each other. And this #3 is probably one of my top 5 favorite covers of all time. This was one of the books I found when I first read it, and I ended up getting this in the back bins because I got into X-Men just a little bit late. I think Wildcats was already going by the time I was, really getting my feet wet into X-Men, Jim Lee's run. And this was one of the issues that I came across. It was already in the back bins, and I just remember pulling this out and looking at it for the first time and just being like, "Wow!" Like seeing the X-Men fighting against each other was something that really intrigued me, and I bought it there in the spot. I think it was only like it wasn't that much. I think it was like $5, $3, $5, something like that. But this became one of my favorite issues and still remains to this day. So let's jump into it and get rolling. Here we go. Oh yeah, almost forgot. So if you like this channel, you enjoy the videos I make and the content, please subscribe, give me a like, hit the bell for notifications, and share the video to everybody humanly possible. I appreciate it very, very much. So here we go. Again, I just talked a lot about this personally, what I feel is one of the my top five covers of all time. And we're going to jump into the book. Just this fantastically drawn book. There's something about this opening splash page that just is so awesome. It's just the words I can use. They're just so awesome. I love uh, the Blackbird here in stealth mode. And I love how it's drawn. I love how Scott Williams brings out Jim's line work here and just really, shows the stealth aspect of this. But then you can see, the transparent. You got Earth, you got Asteroid M, you got this little shot here of all the X-Men, which I wonder, I don't zoom in very often with these, but look at that. Can we go any closer? Maybe. Here we go. Look at that. That's tiny as hell. And you spent time just drawing all of these characters in, and that's impressive. That's some impressive work right there by both Jim and Scott. And one of the best duos, I think, in the history of comics, penciler and inker wise. But and then you got just like, the core X-Men that have all joined Magneto here. It just tells a story. It tells a story of what's going on in one page. You don't really need to look at too much of the dialogue because it's all just right there. It's just beautifully done. The idea of Storm and Archangel just flying through space was just one of those things as a kid I just thought was so cool. It really pulled me in. This book is like a nostalgia shot to the vein, if you know what I'm talking about. Like I poured over this book so many times, specifically X-Men 1 through 3. But X-Men 3 in general, this was a book that I couldn't get enough of. I just thought it was one of the best books I had ever read. And the art was just, I mean, this is Jim Lee at the top of his game. Throughout all the eras, he's a fantastic artist, but this was like Jim Lee showcasing himself, right? Like this was him, something to prove to throw the dick out on the table there and be like, I am the man, I am the best, I am motherfucking Jim Lee. That's basically what he was doing with X-Men, specifically 1 through 3. Because I know when you get a little farther in the X-Men, he was doing a lot of layouts and other people were coming in and kind of finishing over him and whatnot as he was getting ready to leave Marvel and start Wildcats. And we'll go over Wildcats at some point again, issues 1 through 4, because I think that just continues his fantastic ride of this of him just being at the apex of popularity, and he was just pushing the envelope and he was just doing things that people hadn't really seen. I mean, great artists came before him, I'm not discounting any of them, but when Jim Lee came on the scene and his just rise, it's like watching an athlete um, go from rookie and being just an outstanding like rookie of the year, and then next year just improving, and next year improving, and just becoming like the best player in the NFL, and having this little bit of a run there where like nobody could touch him. That was Jim Lee in the '90s. And that's why these books are so special to me. And Scott Williams was right there the entire time. Can anybody draw a better Logan than Jim Lee? I'm sure there could be an argument for some artists, but I think Jim Lee just draws the best Wolverine. I just think in general he draws some of the best X-Men. Just great storytelling. Again, I mean, I think Claremont was still doing the scripting on these books. I don't think he had left the book just yet in the story arc, so got a lot of his heavy dialogue in these books. But yeah, getting into the meat and potatoes of this book, here you go. Just awesome scene here. I love the silhouette aspect of this scene, just isolating. The white really just pops it out. It just the red colors here with the highlights, it really brings your eyes in, and it puts some narrative into the panel, if you know what I'm talking about. Like it really does. It just captures the scene. It's something just so simplistic, but so well done. Great action shot here. Just Cyclops just blasting the shit out of Jean, and then here we go. The X-Men are about to rumble with each other, and that's really the crux of this book. That's what you want to see. How do the X-Men hold up against one another? How do you fight teammates and not critically injure them? The scene with Psylocke just cyblading the fuck out of Iceman, it was so cool. Same thing with here. Like the visuals of this was great. Iceman just nailing Gambit. The dialogue's awesome too. It's that 90s dialogue. It's just fun reading. Magneto has never looked better than in these storylines. He's just the powerful, majestic stances that Jim Lee puts him in, the way that he utilizes the effects with his power. It's very kind of Jack Kirby like Crackle, but kind of Jim Lee modernized. Great special effects here. The colors just really make everything pop. And again, I'll say it before, or I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I love the old school colors on these books. I've seen a lot of modern day colorists now recolor some of these pages, and they don't have the same energy. They don't have the same feel as these kind of traditional way of coloring it back in the day. It's just something very special about it. I love it. Yeah, just great ending to the book too. You have this big conflict, and read the story. I'm not going to get really into the story because that's not what this channel is about. We like to look at the art here, just go over that, but just read the story because the story is good too. The way it ends, you really think that Magneto is dying. He's going off in the distance and blowing up. Like that's how it ends. When I read this book as a kid, I was like, holy shit! It's like they just killed Magneto. The emotion. I love the scene where Magneto just sends the X-Men away. The emotion in Xavier, and just the scene as you're watching Asteroid M explode and just go into the atmosphere and just burn out. So well done. Such great storytelling. Let me back up again. The rendering in Magneto's face here, the light sourcing, just top notch. This stuff is so hard to do and make it look good. You could throw a bunch of lines and try to emulate certain stuff. Excuse me, certain stuff like this, but it's not necessarily going to turn out the way you want it to do. You have to really know what you're doing. I'm so impressed with artists and inkers that can really bring that out. Masters of the craft, that's all I got to say. They're just masters of the craft, and they made comics fun. Something that they're sorely missing, I think, in today's industry is the fun aspect of actually reading a comic and getting lost in the art and the skill level of these guys. So, all right, guys, that was it. Just want to quickly get in here and look over this and wrap up X-Men 1-3 and finally get done with that. And like I said, we'll cover some Wildcats here coming up too, because I think that was a great run for Jim as well. So I appreciate you all joining me. If you like this channel, remember to subscribe. I don't know why I can never say that. I always trip over that. If you like this channel, remember to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell for notifications. I appreciate it, and I will talk to you all later.